And we are loaded. So this is the $300 PC that we built here. I just want to mention one thing. Keep in mind with this $300 PC here, $80 of this PC was Windows 10. So keep in mind a large chunk of it, in fact I believe the most expensive chunk of this PC was actually the operating system. So just keep that in mind. Technically this is 200 some dollars, give or take a couple bucks there, of hardware. So if you watch the build video on this here, you know the cooler we bought here did not fit in here. It's too close with this front cover. So ended up getting a different cooler here. Like I said, basically almost the same identical type of cooler here, Cooler Master cooler, just flipped on its side laying down as opposed to standing up. So almost identical. Looks really nice in there, I think, with this clear panel on there. Again, you probably could add a little bit of light in there. Probably make this case look really nice. So if you watch the build video for this PC, one of probably the biggest slowdowns here for this computer is probably the spinning platter hard drive. If you note how long it takes Windows to load here, it's not bad, but keep in mind there's nothing on here yet either. You know, as you probably put some more software on here, it's definitely going to take a little bit longer. And then of course as well, let's say if we load up a game here. So we're going to load up Farming Simulator, and then once we're done that, we'll also run the Heaven benchmark there, just to see what the benchmark results are for this particular system here. That, of course, stresses the graphics card, not so much the rest of the system, but again, with a hard drive here, it's not so much going to affect your performance, let's say your CPU and graphics card. It's just going to take it a little while longer to load. We are running on medium graphics settings here, by the way. That is what Farming Simulator here thought would work with this system. Apparently, I have not changed it at all. The only thing I have changed is the screen res in Farming Simulator, so that the screen res actually matches what the resolution of our screen here is. That is something I see quite commonly, by the way. For best results or best looks with a game, you should always run your game, and Windows for that matter, at whatever resolution your screen supports. That of course means you need to know what resolution that is, which, if you bought the monitor, you should have no problem figuring that out. Typically the highest one is what the monitor supports, so usually whatever Windows says is the highest it'll do, that is usually what the resolution for your monitor is. But just again, like I said, keep in mind, if possible, you always want to run your game Windows at the resolution of your monitor. Running anything else will usually result in a little bit of a blurry screen. Items won't be as sharp in contrast. Again, with this monitor here, this is 1920 by 1080. So Windows is set to 1920 by 1080, and the game is set to 1920 by 1080. Something to keep in mind here, say if you have a little bit smaller screen or less resolution, say maybe 1280 by 720, you could probably turn the graphics up to high or very high. Obviously a lot less pixels there. So there we are. In the game here, seems to be running pretty good. We don't have the FPS on here at the moment, so I'm not entirely sure what we're getting, but it is nice and smooth. And just a quick change later here to turn on the FPS so we can see what it's doing here. Running about 49 to 50 FPS here, so that's actually pretty good. Again, not obviously quite 60 FPS here, but unless we drop below about 30 or so, I don't believe anybody's ever going to notice much of a difference here. And in fact, if we tab away to say something a little less stressful than maybe harvesting, it is actually running at 60. So that's actually pretty good for that graphics card there. Okay, so we have the Heaven benchmark set up here. Same settings as we were running on our $500 PC here. So we got the quality set to Ultra, tessellation set to Extreme, anti-aliasing set to 8x. resolution there set to the system resolution. That should be 1080p, I would assume. So let's run. Oh wow, and we are loaded. Okay, so again, this is an AMD R7 240 here. Yeah, it's running, what is that, 6 FPS here? Not that great at all. Well, let's run a benchmark here and we'll see what the results come back as. Well, it looks like our benchmark is complete here. We got an FPS of 8, not very good. A score of 202, also not very good. Minimum FPS 4.2, max FPS 15.6. Again, that's our graphics card. They're not the not the strongest of graphics cards, I guess you could say. But like I said, it will get the job done. Now, what I do find interesting here, the AMD R7 240 here is about, I think, a $70 card. That was also the same cost as our cheap Chinese 1060 here, which is, again, definitely is not a 1060. We'll have a video coming out on that shortly. Not entirely sure what this card is here, but like I said, I'm fairly convinced it's not a 1060, or it's like a downgraded 1060 or something. But the 1060 does perform better than this, because I have ran a benchmark on that card. It gets about twice the score. So worth noting there, for the same price, twice the power. So anyway, folks, I think that's going to do it for this benchmark here. Again, running their ultra quality tessellation extreme 1920 by 1080. And everyone, with that, I think we're going to wrap up this video here. Again, big thanks to all the individuals that made these builds possible here. Again, this is the $300 PC build. Actually, just a little under $300. So yeah, with that, you folks have any comments or questions, be sure to leave them below. And as always, thanks for watching, and until next time.